the old California shirt on. Yeah, I was just pondering, just waiting for my next class. I had a couple of classes this morning. I missed one. I slept in a bit. There's been a bit of noise or disturbance around this building, so I kind of don't sleep that deep. So I like everything just tranquil and I don't like any sort of spy satellites or whatever is around just monitoring me. I like to just sleep deeply and not be disturbed, Yeah, look, I have a feeling people want get a bit sick of all the Superman sort of stuff I talk about. So it's kind of future, isn't it? It's like not here now, The here and now is just the life we're living. I've been through a lot. I've sort of rebirthed myself in a way. But I'm still myself, I'm still little old Evan, just eking out his life, like it was never going to be fantastic unless I had some kind of love life blossom or met some amazing people. I sort of just met just normal regular people that didn't really raise me up to where I wanted to be, but I'm doing that slowly myself, with the help of a little bit of help, I get support from family and friends, but it's not really like guidance to where I want to be, that's taking a very long time. And sometimes I think maybe there's a reason for it, but maybe I'm just being too nice, And yeah, look, that's my life. I've just lived a very meek and mild little life in the country and moved, went to the city to do uni and then had that enlightenment experience, which was quite terrifying. So I sort of became unwell for, on and off for a few years, A lot of it wasn't my fault. It was the doctors interfering again in my recovery, trying to get me stuck on these drugs that I think are just for initial trauma. You shouldn't use them too much, otherwise it debilitates you too much. You can't really, recovery's too hard, If recovery's too hard, your body gives up, So I've always fought to get off them so I can give my body time to recover. So you shouldn't interfere too much in your body's natural chemistry, they're important initially, maybe. I don't know, maybe there's other ways to deal with trauma. Just have someone who knows what they're talking about to help calm you down, because I was just really upset, really, basically. That's all it is, You're terrified and then really upset because you can't get answers as to what's happened. It was a very unexpected, unexplained thing that happened to me I hadn't encountered before, so sort of like discovering you were spiritual all of a sudden when you've always thought you were just this physical body, Or maybe the spirit world's not something the physical people experience, but I experienced it in an instant and sort of transformed my belief system, sort of lost my ego and discovered a new one. So that's what it's become, sort of this, it's not really obsession, I wouldn't say, it's just, it might appear that way over the internet, but I'm just enjoying my normal life day to day, just doing whatever at home or out and about. But when I'm online, I like to just share probably my intimate thoughts I should be sharing with my wife, but I'm not married, I should be talking to my wife about all this other stuff I think about and just having a laugh and dressing up for parties and maybe going to parties dressed as Superman, that's what I should be doing. But of course it's coming out over the internet and probably getting a bad sort of light. But that's what the internet does. It's very singular. You're on your own. You're conversing with people through a medium. You're not really getting a real person. You're just sort of always getting a character sort of, almost an act or something. You're sort of in the moment and you just want to express that sort of enjoyment, I guess. But I hope that noise isn't coming through on this video either, but we'll see. So yeah, that's all that really in a nutshell, just all wrapped up really. I don't know where else you go with your thoughts. To the past, I suppose. You wander back to, times when I was Christ and things I went through, and I suppose that's what people are still interested in a lot. I haven't been acknowledged that way. It's not really my job to do that. I'm just living the life I'm living. If someone wants to acknowledge that, they're welcome. But my job's just to move forward and move through my life. I'd love to acknowledge that and help foster world peace. That would be really beautiful. That's what I've always mentioning. That was my ultimate. Don't know, aim is the right word, but ultimate motive is to just bring world peace. I think a lot of the conflict is over. Where Jesus has gone, where he exists. I suppose when I was born, I sort of came from that heavenly sort of world back to earth, and as I've grown up, I've always lived a sinless life. I can't really commit sin because when I do make a mistake, I always make up for it. So I don't really sin. I don't really cause problems. And now I'm more of a creative force. I tend to help people discover life for themselves. I'm always sticking up for people and always behind everything I'm creating life now. I'm not just participating. My being is actually out there being a creator. So creating different dimensions, different worlds, if you want to go into all that. But that's I'm not just a little son of God anymore, just dancing around helping the sick. I'm sort of almost like a creator in myself, and it's not so much I do personally anymore, create much. I suppose I'm sort of creative in the way I do my electronics, and I was enjoying doing that circuit board the other night, really trying to discover a new framework of creativity, more in the electronics field. I'd like to be I'm not trying to take over electronics. I don't think I'll ever do that, but I'm just trying to influence it in a positive the way that the way I'd like to see electronics moving, sort of more supporting the environment rather than being a burden, and just see, I'm not there yet, so it's hard to talk. I'm talking about the future again, so I'd like to just be sort of a positive influence rather. I don't care about extreme wealth or, trying to take down the big guys or, anything like that. I just think, if I made my little non-binary computer, it'd be more like a little addition to help. So I'm getting excited, but I'm not really there yet. It's a funny space, but I don't really want to talk about it, but I'll mention sort of just a little addition just to sort of complement what's there already and maybe bring it into more of a stream to the future that I imagine is more of a Jetsons or more of a more of an interesting sort of collaborative sort of world rather than just some dead end like the Matrix or something, where everyone's suffering. I want to bring a positive spin, take that whole Christian world into the future. We're sort of stuck in the past, and not doing much. We're just sort of sitting around waiting for God, and we're sitting right here waiting for you. It's a funny sort of predicament, really. It's just the whole marriage hasn't really happened. I thought over the years things had happened and sort of marriages happened, and sort of things got in the way all the time. I don't know whether it was not knowing my grandfather or not knowing our real birth name of Wheeler. Rather, people knew me as Douglas Smith, which sort of, I suppose, to a lot of people is unattractive. It's not really, sort of more like a little desk clerk, accountant or something, rather than some cool sort of biker or race car driver or some cool sort of dude. I sort of got stuck with the geeks. I sort of have both those sides to me, having those two names. It's sort of funny. I'm a bit of a hothead and also a bit of a cool sort of little geeky sort of framework. maybe that's that transformational thing of Superman having the two names. Wheeler's like the Superman, and Douglas Smith's like the Clark Kent. One day I might transform. Those sort of having two names, Kal-El and Clark Kent. Kal-El's like the Wheeler, isn't he? I suppose. Yeah, that's how I think about it. I think about stuff like that. Sort of, when I was younger, I didn't think about all this sort of stuff, religious or Superman. I thought more about just conceptual art, like coming up with concepts behind art and how things all relate. I used to try and connect all the dots. So, so you might think that's random, but I think it's all not preordained, but all sort of, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Not random, not chaotic. It's all sort of ordered in a way. It's all almost predictable. Some sort of stuff you think about. Predictable is not a nice word to use. I'm trying to think of the right word. I can't think of it right now. But yeah. So yeah, going back to those Christian values, where we sort of come from. I feel like the world sort of, some of it's wanting to be in the Jetsons, like your Elon Musk or whoever else is wanting to, terraform Mars or something, and the other side of us is walking around with cloaks doing this, still wondering where Jesus is, or thinking they're Jesus or something, and trying to take over Christian, all these people out there trying to be Jesus, trying to convince everyone in the world that they're Jesus to get all the money or something, whatever they're trying to get, as if Jesus cares about money. It's not even Jesus' design work is not really money. It's his currency is love. So money has never been important to me. I've just seen it as something like I don't know what you sort of just like probably. It's a bit like money's a bit like food, I suppose, in a way. It's important to sort of have that currency flowing. I think when it doesn't flow, you're not giving of money. Money should be generous. It should be generously given and spent. It shouldn't just be a necessity. So I think the way money's spent is ridiculous. Giving people on New Start, was it $500 a fortnight or something? What's that going to buy? It's not being generous. It's not creating good currency. Currency is a word for current. It means a flow. Money should flow, not just be stored up in people's pockets. These people in government or rich people just storing it away. Just to, what do they want to buy with it? You can't buy the country. You can't buy the land mass. It just belongs to everyone. So. There's only so many homes you can live in at once. Why do they want to build, buy all these enormous friggin' homes and not even use them? It's just, everyone could be comfortably living and enjoying life, and ultimately, the currency I believe in, love, is what really rewards people. Like, money can be a terrible hindrance to people's lives and be terribly, like people with excessive money end up spending on just ridiculous stuff like drugs and, prostitution and all this stuff can be terribly negative, whereas love is always a beautiful thing. It's never a bad thing, love. It's always, and it grows. Money just stays what it is, Money accumulates, but it doesn't grow, it just accumulates, so. But we've made it the centre of our world, haven't we? It was love suffered, a lot of people are missing out. And really, all these people with money are missing out too, because they're not getting rewarded from all these beautiful people that just suffer or, made prostitutes or whatever else, just to, just destroys their lives. They end up on drugs and just wasted. Really, it could be heavenly angels, on earth, doing the greatest things ever. Like creating the new worlds that we want to live in. We're just stuck in these little boxes, just festering away. You might think, well, why does it matter? What does ultimately human beings matter? And it's like human beings are the catalysts for change in the universe. We're the ones with the minds to do it. And if you're ever going to have a world that you can truly enjoy, so you don't have to think about why does life matter. So you're just absolutely engaged in life and wrapped up in the beauty and the mystery and the mystique and the excitement of life. Well, you've got to invest in human beings. Animals aren't going to do it. They're following us behind. They're a long way behind. And one day they'll probably all evolve. Animals eventually, or sort of a super evolution. We're all coming from somewhere, going somewhere, and human beings are the ones you've got to really invest in. So. If you're not investing in that growth and you're trying to hold it back, it's like having a beautiful plant and keep cutting it back. It's never going to bloom and blossom into a beautiful tree. It's always going to just be a little weed, isn't it? Weeding around. The worst thing you do is cut back, Christ or whoever I am now. It's the worst thing you can possibly do is cut someone like me back and not have me fall in love and blossom and bloom my heart and my soul for the world to enjoy. But you might think that's egotistical, but it's just being honest. It's just how I feel. I'm not trying to really rule the world. I don't see the point of one person ruling the world. Uncomfortable would that be, all that attention of the whole world. I just want a small little community to enjoy where I feel like I fit in. I don't feel like I fit in Heidelberg, and this sort of environment where I'm not accepted, not nurtured, and not loved for the person I am. I'm sort of more sort of like I've noticed people are a bit more friendly, but it's not really like being embraced and feeling like you're on side. It feels like you're a bit offside, living sort of environment like this where I could be really loved and held by all my friends. I always feel like I'm very cold. Not myself, but my relationships are very not connected the way I like. I don't know, maybe maybe people are interested in the past. I don't know. I just felt this morning, I get a bit of intuition that people are interested in how Jesus led his life. He's a very big guy. He was, a tree. He fell and, clean timber, work on all his wood stuff, fishing. He's always very physical out there. He's, probably bigger and stronger than me. Like, I'm quite a weak, flabby little bloke now living in this environment. So, I've been tall and lean and very strong, very stern all the time, very serious sort of face, not much happiness, not much laughter, is surrounded by a lot of misery. So he's probably the strong one of the town. It's felt upon him to actually stand up and be the martyr, so I often felt like that in my town, and I was this sort of special little guy running around town, sort of almost a strong one in a way, the older one, the older boy. Even though I was a smaller boy, amongst all the older guys, I felt like almost the daddy of the whole group of my school. And I was always trying to entertain everyone, act the clown to keep everyone amused and keep everyone happy. I just felt upon myself to do that, and it was probably because I didn't have a girlfriend to keep me in check. I was probably a bit crazy, a bit crazy at times, doing stupid things like trying to get attention. But it was all just to make life more memorable, because that's what's really important, isn't it? When you have those funny, happy moments and just stick with you. I don't have many of those anymore. It's all just a blur of just mundaneness, really. But it's what the world's tried to do with us, and with those computers, make life mundane and just be a process, rather than a memorable sort of event. Yeah, I don't like sort of sharing too much about all those Jesus sort of moments or memories with a computer screen. I'd rather enjoy it with people who want to hear it around a campfire or something. I'm happy to share memories of mine back then. Like, I've remembered my whole existence, really, and it's really made me grow, like, into just this, Godzilla really inside. I think Godzilla has the memories of the whole world within him, and sort of creates this, and the world, like, until the time of Ra, when I was Ra, just doing all that work, everything before that was peaceful and enjoyable and happy, and I think that's when I don't know what you call them, Klingons or something, some kind of aliens invaded us, and since then it's just been misery, it's been war, it's been crucifying Jesus for being in love, it's been all these miserable wars and famines, and everything's been shit ever since, up until probably about the 1980s, when things started to get better, when I was born, and I came back and things were nice for a long time. Until then I got attacked at a rave party and then everything went shitty in the world, like then there was 9/11 and all these other problems, and then Black Lives Matter, and then, which has been good for them, but it's been a bit of a tumultuous sort of way of discovering all that, with the death of that man and all that other sort of stuff going on. So we hadn't been invaded back then by aliens or whatever it was that invaded us, this other sort of world which got signalled and found out where we were, and sort of probably blended into our culture now. It's just this sort of I don't know, maybe one day, if we don't sort of rid the world of it, or whatever it is, this sort of Klingon race or something living amongst us, just sort of disrupting everything, then you could just eventually turn into this sort of xenomorph kind of alien, kind of Geiger looking thing, eventually sort of a strain of some kind of virus that lives amongst us. I don't know where it's come from, or that's just the way I remember it, the way I see it. I see it before Ra as almost like the way they believe in Krishna, the way they believe in all that Krishna religion. That's what it was sort of like before. I know it's probably touchy for people. They're thinking, oh, that's not right. We just do all these other things. But that's how I remember it. I see it that way. That before the birth of God, as Ra, was a beautiful journey. It was always peaceful and enjoyable and love. And, like being as I've mentioned before, being a sea serpent, what they call a hydra, was beautifully peaceful. It's just, it's eating fish, which to fish is probably terrible, but they know they're going to get eaten. They see the bigger guys and they just get ready for it. They're like, oh, there's a shark. Oh, here I am. It's not really war. It's not war. It's just life blooming and blossoming, and this hydra that grew and then became Ra, because he was god of the ocean first, and then god of the land, and then, as an ocean with more of a hydra, and I remember right back to when the world was Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. There was a time, it wasn't called Peter Pan Tinkerbell, there was a time when God was a little sprite, and it was just this dreamy little world, and you might think that's ridiculous, but that's where all these dreams and things come from, is the past, and we're always trying to invent that in the future, I suppose, and that's sort of what happens in life. Life revolves. It comes from one spot around and then comes back again. I think that will happen again. The world will have a revolution, or will come back to a revolution. We might see a world like that. It will be bigger and brighter than ever. It will be greater, but because back then it was just very small and tiny. And really, it's sort of like fattening up a big pig to then enjoy it. It's like the world's been fattened up we'll get back to what it was, so you can enjoy. Peter Pan can enjoy a bigger, better, brighter Neverland. That's another character I believe that I was back then. That's the memories I have of flying around with little sprites, little fairy type. More sprites back then, or more little pixies and sprites and things. I'm talking a long time ago, long time ago. Back in other worlds, I remember. But my memories go back a long way. I've discovered a lot of different memories, where rocks come from, where all sorts of things, trees, how they develop. That's where my interest went, as I develop more into a god of sorts, you'd probably notice, you'd recognise me more as a Jesus God sort of person now if I'd fall in love, and am embraced by the world and accepted and seen that way, I'd even grow the beard and the hair long if that's what people wanted. But yeah, it's there. It's just a bit puffy. All the neglect. But yeah, that's it's like anyone. It only happens if it's important to other people because it involves other people. I'm not going to go out of my way to try and be something on my own. It's more acceptance of other people and love and support. And I'm always open to that. But people are just busy, in their lives, trying to support their families and whatever else, working, taking the kids to school, doing their chores, and getting off to bed every night. I understand that, but yeah, if the world ever wants peace, I think that would have to happen, be embraced and be accepted, be remembered for all this history that's out there that is being misunderstood, Anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. If the world never understands it, it'll just be like a cake that never got properly iced and just get thrown out, or enjoyed without the icing on the cake, and then we'll move on, I guess, to the next thing. So, but it would be nice to have that world peace, that basis to sit upon and think, right now we've come to rest with all this Christianity. Let's move on now. Once we discover that Christ, and just think, right, that's done. Let's move on. And move on to other things, superpowers or heaven or wherever else we want to go. Because that's the word I take with me. I took heaven all the way through hell. So to understand it all, I needed a safe space. So I took heaven through hell. That's sort of what happened at the rave party. So yeah, I've come back to Earth really after that and just settled. That's my world anyway. Heaven. It's a beautiful thing. It's connection to everything in love. It's not taking over things. It's just that beautiful connection, relationship with everything. In the whole universe. And the connection's love. It's a universal, eternal bond and binding force. And yeah, marriage is the work of creating love. It's love making. So that's what I look forward to, if and when I find it. I'm always open to it, but just finding the right time, the right people. Anyway, always happy to share my experiences, my memories, not even of just of Christianity or Christ memories, but other ones. All sorts of other things I remember, going right back. I remember with my whole being, not just in my head. It's my memories are out in the world. I discover, they're out. I trace back my roots everywhere. Yeah, it's beautiful. Anyway, that's nearly half an hour, so I better go. My next class is coming up, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope the noise is in the background, that rolling film noise. I hope it's clear, so enjoy.